Thank you so much for having me and for welcoming me on this stage. And I'll also take this moment to just say, wow, at this point, we're already learning and hearing about so much. We've heard talks about innovation, opportunity of the time that we're living in, technology and the role it plays, as well as the global health situation at this moment. The interesting thing is that there is a common theme throughout all of this, and that is collaboration. As mentioned in my introduction, my name is Melati Wijsen. I'm now 20 years old and a full-time change maker. Today, I do not represent, and I am not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert. What I would like to share with you today is my perspective of being part of the generation that is standing up for the future and the world that we want to see. So, having said that, join me and sit up a little bit straighter from the screens that you're watching this from. Roll your shoulders back and join me in taking a deep breath in on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Another one, deep breath in and out. I like to do this exercise on any stage, whether that's in front of a school audience or a corporate meeting like we are having today. Why? Because this acts as a strong example and a reminder that 70% of the oxygen we breathe come from the ocean. I grew up on the island of Bali, part of Indonesia, where we're the world's largest archipelago in the world, meaning we have only oceans spreading through our 17,000 islands. And 70% of the oxygen we breathe comes from the ocean, meaning every second breath we take comes from the ocean. So if our oceans are so important, you can ask yourself the next question: why are we treating them so badly? This was a question that I started asking at the age of 12 years old. It was not rocket science to see the growing problem of plastic pollution. I'm not sure how many of you have visited Bali or been to Indonesia, or perhaps see the same problem in your local areas. Plastic pollution. In our lifetime, they say that by 2050, there will be more plastic than fish in our oceans. And not even the oceans or the fish. Think about ourselves and our own health. It's already reported, and studies already find that every week we are ingesting 5 grams, a credit card's worth of plastic pollution every single week. Can you imagine? What is the future we are heading to? What will happen if we do not take action now? Bali. Growing up here, it was the perfect paradise island that everybody always talked about as the island of gods. But again, we saw a very different reality. Bali, the island of plastic. So enough, we said, already at 10 and 12 years old. Here's a picture of our very first day on the mission with our organization, Bye Bye Plastic Bags. Yes, our name captured our mission. We saw a vision for a plastic bag-free Bali. Here we saw a problem, and here we wanted a solution. What did we do, and what made us stand out? Throughout all the previous talks as well, we heard about how we have to be creative, how we have to be innovative. So our way as the young generation at 10 and 12 years old automatically was to work around changing people's behavior and mindset. So we started a conversation about plastic pollution, and we did that through fun ways. Here's a picture of us doing a trash fashion show. But not only do we have to bring awareness, we also have to provide solutions. And here I would like to share a story of Mountain Mamas, which is our social enterprise that we set up. Oftentimes when we went out to campaign and said, our simple solution is to say bye-bye to plastic bags, you can imagine the question was always, what do you want us to use instead of plastic? And so Mountain Mamas is a social enterprise we started with a circular system where we empower local women on the island of Bali to make alternative bags from pre-loved material. So here I'm holding up in my hands an alternative bag that was made from pre-loved material. So I believe that this was my sister's old skirt turned into a bag Here inside, hotel sheets that have been donated to us to repurpose into bags, and voila, a bag. No excuse to say no to single-use plastic bags. Providing the solution is key if we want to see change happen. What next? Going back to education, going back to awareness. Here I have an educational booklet. Why do we feel this is important? As a youth-led organization, we know the power of knowledge. We know that change starts in the classroom. If the younger generation does not know the problem, how can we be an active part of the solutions that we want to see? So we've spoken to over 200,000 students all around the world and given workshops on hands-on skills, tips on how to take action. Finally, drum roll, Bali became plastic bag free in 2019. 6 years on the front lines, working to this achievement, collaborating, really collaborating with like-minded on the ground to achieve this goal. But our work is far from done. There is still a lot to do with the implementation of this policy change. And so here I would like to bring up an example of how we think outside the box, how we remain creative in order to see these regulations implemented into everyday life. Introducing Bali's biggest cleanup, an annual iconic cleanup that we host on the island, all throughout the island in one day, to act as a symbolic event where anyone can come and be a part of showing how urgent the plastic pollution crisis is and how urgent and wanting this ban to come into place. So we've hosted this cleanup for the last 5 years, and we mobilized over 60,000 individuals and prevented over 130 tons of plastic from entering the ocean. While we know cleanups are only a tool of awareness and not at all the solution, we do feel like it is a great way to get people out there taking the first step. But I've been on many prestigious stages, from the United Nations to the World Economic Forum, and today here with you. However, as a young change maker, my strongest frustration is the fact that we are changing too slowly. We know that we do not have that luxury of time. So throughout my 7 years experience, I truly believe that young people can accelerate change, especially the change that we wish to see. And it's not only about plastic pollution, but there are 17 sustainable development goals that we have to achieve before 2030. So our new project, Youthopia, as also mentioned in my introduction, is all about this. How can we empower the young generation who are already asking the big questions to be a part of the solutions and implementing these projects? That's where Youthopia comes in. Through peer-to-peer learning, we create programs together with frontline young activists and build those programs to give it to the young, rising young change maker. 17 sustainable development goals. Will we reach it? Again, this is where we have to invite all of the innovation that we can think of, collaborations that we can think of, thinking outside the box, coming together to make sure that by 2030, we're actually seeing these implementations of all the 17 sustainable development goals and leaving no one behind. Coming back to where we are today, what do we as the younger generation expect from the older generation, from institutions, from corporates? We need to be bolder in our ambitions, be bolder in our goals. We celebrate the ones, the goals that are to be achieved in 2030, to be achieved by 2025. But what are we going to be doing today? What are the next 12 months plan? So be bolder, be braver, and implement those changes sooner. Secondly, think in systems. We need to be able to understand that the change does not belong solely to the individual, but it's a systemic change that we need to see. Last but not least, no loopholes. Invent and create an incentive program, reward innovation. People that are doing good and are being on track should be rewarded for that. And those that are falling behind or creating loopholes should have consequences. Number 4, invest in people and invest in solutions. We are not seeing enough radical investments into people on a grassroots level, into solutions that are on a grassroots level. And last but not least, my main message in my 10 minutes with you today, empower the young people around you. Invite us into your meeting rooms. Invite us into your brainstorming rooms, because we have ideas, we have demands that we want to see come into place. Allow us to be part of the journey of creating change with you. Us kids may only be 25% of the world's population, but we are 100% of the future. And change is already here. Thank you.